Finding community as a writer can feel pretty hard sometimes. Honestly, when I restarted my writing journey a little over a year ago, it wasn't even something that was really on my radar. In the past, whenever people were involved in my creative practice, whether that was photography, film, or any of the other countless creative hobbies that I pursued throughout high school and college, it was as a collaborator, or we were critiquing each other's work, or it felt like we were in competition. Maybe we were in a class together or up for the same magazine position. I never really had the type of creative community that was really centered around just mutual support and kind of co-working, not in a collaborative sense necessarily, but just in the sense of being there for each other and rooting each other on throughout the creative process. Fast forward to now, and I finally feel like I've built genuine writing community. I have this amazing network of authortube friends. We write together, we talk together, we do sprints multiple times a week, whether that's through live streams or FaceTimes or Discord chats. And I've also started my own in-person writing group in Seattle. I also went on a writing retreat last year, and I have 2 more planned for this year, maybe 3. So I feel like I have a great network of writing friends at this point and a strong writing community that keeps me showing up and helps me feel supported and engaged with like a group of people throughout the writing process, so it doesn't feel so like lonely and sad. I wanted to chat a little bit in this video just kind of about the value of writing community, how important it's become to me, how I've benefited from it, and kind of encourage you to go out and find some writing friends for yourself. I also want to talk about some of the like hesitations and challenges that might come up when trying to make writing friends and writing community and how to push through those things. I also had a little chat with 2 of the girls from my writing group about how the group has helped us and like the benefits of having something every week to show up to and work on your writing project. So I'm really excited for this video. It's going to be just like a wholesome, sweet chat. Now, finding community as a writer has been instrumental to me being more consistent with my writing practice. Showing up for your writing is so important. And I think another great resource or way to encourage yourself to be more consistent with your writing practice is through the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes across a wide variety of creative topics, such as writing, productivity, content creation, and more. What I really love about Skillshare for writers is that Skillshare has both craft-based classes that can really help you to level up your writing skill, but it also has a lot of classes around productivity and building a consistent creative practice, things that are more so focused on living a creative life and showing up for your creativity. Having those sorts of tools and ideas for how you can show up more frequently and show up better to your writing practice, I think is so valuable. A great class to check out if you want to figure out how to make writing fit into your day-to-day life, your regular schedule, is called Creative Writing for All: Develop a Regular and Rewarding Writing Practice. I recently discovered this class and I thought it was so perfect for the concept of this video and for the new year as well, if you want to work on making writing a more consistent habit. If you're a fan of like scheduling and want to try out time blocking to get more consistent writing sessions in, they also have a class that's called Chaos to Calm, Google Calendar Workshop for Creatives. You can get started today and try out either of the classes I mentioned or any of the countless other classes for creatives on Skillshare completely for free, because the first 500 people to use my link in the description will get a 1-month free trial with Skillshare. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video and being a consistent partner on my channel. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the footage from a couple weeks ago when I sat down and chatted with my writing group friends. This is Jessica and Holly's debut on this channel, so definitely give them a warm welcome. Also, I made an iced chai for this video and it's so bad actually. This is my first time trying to make an iced chai just like with a chai Keurig pod and then just like oat milk. And I thought, oh, if I mix together the chai tea and the oat milk, like that'll make a chai latte, right? No, they must be pumping that stuff with sweetener because this does not taste right. It's just giving nothing. Maybe it's too much tea? I don't even know. I'll work on it. Also, double PS, I spent like 45 minutes before pressing record on the camera working on the background of the shot. That's something that YouTubers I feel like don't talk about enough. The effort required to make your home a space that you're like living in and that often has like laundry and dishes and stuff around, to make your home like look neat and tidy for YouTube videos. It's a whole thing. And like to make sure the shot looks good, like I wanted to make sure I had some sort of warm light in the background. So I literally moved my floor lamp around. It's a whole thing, but it's worth it because I always am grateful when I'm editing if I took the time to make the shot look nice, because then it's like prettier to look at while I'm editing the video. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's throw it back to the footage I was talking about. Okay, so this is Jessica and Holly, two of my friends from writing group, and we're gonna chat a little bit about community, how the writing group has helped us personally, because we're all in sort of different places in our writing journeys. We also have Rosé, which is a vibe. So do you guys want to each like give a quick introduction on like where you're at in your writing journeys and like what you've worked on, published, what you're working on now, all the vibes?
So I have 3 books I have 2 that are published and 1 that is coming out. It's a trilogy. And I've actually written a couple before that, but I am finishing up and working on the 3rd one. It's fully done, the draft. So I am getting ready to publish that one.
Very exciting. Holly?
So I have never published anything. The only project I've finished was anything that was assigned to me in a creative writing class. I actually am not even in a creative profession. I just recently kind of rekindled my desire to write something creative. So yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm at the very beginning. I'm figuring everything out for the first time, which is scary, but really fun. And I've got some great people supporting me along the way.
Cute, love that. Okay, so I'm curious to know, because you mentioned that you're just kind of getting started like on your writing journey, and you've been part of this community since pretty early stages on this project, like joining the group. So I'm curious to hear like how that was, like jumping into a writing group as sort of you're just dipping your feet into creative writing as an adult. Like how was that?
So it's kind of scary. I had never been in a writing group before, so I thought, I don't know, I didn't know if it was going to be like, I show up and everyone's like, okay, let's all read each other's projects right now. But no, it was actually, at least the writing group that we have, it was so welcoming. Everyone is very supportive no matter what stage you're in. Just from the beginning, it was like imperative to maintaining the momentum that I needed to get started. I think because this is a really big undertaking, writing a book, and it can be really demotivating at times, really exciting at other times. If you're just on your own and you don't have a support network, it's really easy to just like fall off the wagon. So having the writing group every week as something to keep me accountable and keep the habit up and support me when it's getting hard and keep me going was, I don't know, crucial for getting started.
Love that so much. And then Jessica, I feel like you were in like a very different situation of already having published multiple books and then coming into this writing group. But I also know you've talked about like a bit of a slump period. So I'm curious, like how did the writing group factor into pulling yourself out of that slump, if it did?
Yeah. Just call me out on the slump. That's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I had like writer's block for over a year, I think, since I moved out here, just for a variety of different reasons. And I was looking for community to hopefully like help me, exactly like Holly said, like you have accountability and it helps you get inspired from people who are at similar stages and like wanting to publish similar things and have similar interests. One of my goals for last year too was to like be more social because hello, I'm an introvert. So I decided to just take a chance on a little writing group. And I feel like it has been like really nice because having to show up every week and having people that are working on their own stuff like really inspires you in like a way that I feel like I didn't really like put much weight into before I tried it.
They also will hold you accountable if you're getting stuck in an overly plotting phase, if you're overthinking things, or if you like aren't diving into draft 1 or something. They'll be like, what are you doing? Come on.
To clear the record, this is a very supportive group. But it is true. I do feel like there's an element of like, not tough love, but like prompting you to continue and like keep going. And I think there's also something to be said for like how automatic it is. Like once you get in the habit of doing something every single week, it's like, I know I'm going to this group. Like it's not a question in my head anymore. And it creates like built-in accountability that you don't even have to try to create for yourself, because it's like, I know I have this commitment every week. I show up, I do the thing. And similarly to Jessica, I feel like I didn't even know how much I would value like having writing friends and writing community until I had it. And then I was like, oh my God, why did I not realize how much I wanted this? Because writing is inherently very solitary and very solo. And I think I didn't even realize how much having writing friends would make me show up more, make me sprint more, like make the whole process more fun until I had them. So
we all talk about like our goals in terms of deadlines and things that we want to accomplish and which drafts we're working on and what we want to do. And I think like discussing that with other people, it's not even just about like how many words have you written. It's kind of just like, hey, where are you in this process? And that kind of helps keep you accountable in a way that you don't get when you're on your own.
I think something else that's really cool is there are people pursuing different dreams. Like we have people who want to do TradPub. We have Jessica, who's an indie author, which I immediately was like, I need to talk to her and get all the tips and inside knowledge. So it's kind of cool to be able to also like teach each other in certain ways, like Scrivener tips or just like things we've learned throughout our own writing process, like being able to give each other advice. I feel like that's like been really nice as well. So Holly mentioned the fact that like we have not been doing like crazy manuscript swaps. None of us have beta read for each other, I don't think, unless there's been secret swaps happening. Okay. I'm curious as members of the group, whether or not that's something you guys want. I always struggle with the lines between wanting to just like be each other's supports. And once you get into critique, it does muddy it a little. Like as someone who's had my friends beta read for me, you know, it can be a little bit like mixing business and friendship vibes. Thoughts?
Yes. Oh, Holly raised her hand.
Sorry. I have some thoughts as a beginner, as someone who is newer to the game, who's not formally trained. I definitely would benefit immensely from having feedback from experienced writers and also just from people who are not me reading it and telling me like how they felt about like how I described that thing or how that character resonates with them. Just having someone outside of my head to like tell me what direction I'm going in. When you're new and you're learning and often self-teaching yourself a skill, I think it's easy to continue banging your head against a wall and like teach yourself the wrong thing if you don't have people to correct you. And also just people to point you in the right direction. Jessica, often I'll like tell her my ideas. She'll give me advice or like tell me to read this book or a resource or something that helped her when she was early on in her writing journey. So yeah, I think feedback is hugely important. I think it gets uncomfortable sometimes, but I personally would love eventually getting to the point where we're like, you know, we have the option to share our work. I think that is a huge part of any writing group is getting that feedback, just like helping each other grow as writers and not just support each other.
To reference a writing book, which I feel like I do all the time. Ursula K. Le Guin has a book called Stirring the Craft. And it is kind of geared towards writing groups. And one thing that she recommends that people do in that, if you're in a critiqued style group, is you submit chapters and or pages or whatever. And then each time you meet up, you literally just discuss one person's work. She has like some guidelines on it that are really kind of cool, which is the person who's getting critiqued is not allowed to say anything until the rest of the people are done discussing it. And then she can ask questions, etc., which I think could be kind of cool. But also like I'm up for like anything, I feel like, because I do agree any type of feedback just makes your work better, especially when you're in a group of people that you know are reading the same things. I think I've run into that before sometimes where I get feedback from people who like only read true crime or whatever. And I'm like, guys, I'm not writing true crime. I don't need your feedback on that. This is a romantic fantasy. No, thank you. So I think that could be really valuable because we know everyone who's in our group kind of is into the same things and reads the same things and kind of has like similar tastes, which is like 101 for finding critique partners.
Yay! Thanks, guys. Also, Jessica has a YouTube channel, so you should go follow her. I'll have it linked. 3, 2, 1. Cheers. Wait, maybe we shouldn't speak. Maybe we should be talking to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, ready? Go.
Wait, we have to do it again. I was just
Do we need to be closer?
Yeah,
like,
we do, I think.
Ready?
Wait.
Wait, we're
Wait, this is going to be one of those moments where I put all of this in black and white and keep it all in. Okay, ready?
Okay. Winner. That was so good.
Cut the cameras. Okay, Holly had an additional thought she wanted to add.
Hi. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say that as a new writer and as someone who is, I guess, pursuing this kind of intimidating endeavor, the biggest thing that writing group has done for me is just give me the courage and the bravery to pursue my dreams and try things that would otherwise be really scary to do alone. So
So cute.
Okay, bye.
We did in fact have a whole bottle of rosé between the three of us, so keep it on the down low. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed that footage as much as I did. I thought it was so fun. First thing that I want to chat about is how I started this writing group, because I actually get that as a question in my comments quite frequently. How did you start this group? You know, any tips for starting an in-person writing group, finding in-person writing girlies? Now, there is an advantage, admittedly, to being on authortube, because that's where I've kind of founded a lot of my writing friend connections, but it wasn't as simple as just being present in the writing community on authortube. Undeniably, that helped. And so I recognized that I was in a bit of a specific position with that, but there was still an element of having to put myself out there to actually form those connections, whether that was DMing other creators to set up FaceTime calls, starting group chats, joining Discord servers. There was a lot that I did to try and bridge that gap between like, there's other writers I'm acquaintances with to like, no, I actually have writing friends and writing community, because those are not, in my mind, necessarily the same thing. How I started the writing group, to circle back, basically, I just mentioned, you know, in my videos that I was in Seattle, that I was interested in starting the group. Anytime someone in the comments of my YouTube videos would mention that they were based in Seattle, I would immediately respond and be like, please DM me on Instagram. And so person by person, I collected this list of people and started off the writing group. I chose a cafe. I chose a date and time that worked for everyone, or at least worked for most people. And that's how we kickstarted. And it kind of worked out perfectly because my writing group's on Tuesday nights. And that's when I used to have my productive dates with Mick back in LA, which RIP to the productive dates. Like, those live in my head rent free. I had so much fun with those, but I wanted to keep that feeling going. And so I love that I was able to essentially recreate Tuesday night writing sessions with the writing group. Completely off track, but can we talk about how cute my little coffee table looks? I have like a little photography coffee table book and like these spiral colorful candles. It's a new addition to the apartment. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I started the writing group, was over Instagram DMs, created a group chat, sent out one of those little partyful invitations, and the rest is kind of history. The writing group has changed and expanded during the time that I've been running it. It's been multiple months now. You know, some of the people that were there at the beginning are no longer there. Some new people have joined. Friends of friends have joined, which has been really cool to see. Like, people just messaging in the Discord server like, hey, I have a friend who would like to join. Like, can they come next week? I'm obviously like, yeah, of course they can come. And the group has expanded that way as well. People bringing their own writing friends into the mix. Something I did want to talk about is the, what would you call it? The awkward phase. Anytime you're trying to make new friends, it's going to be awkward at first. Admittedly, when I started the group, it was awkward for the first few weeks. People were not as consistent in terms of showing up. None of us knew each other. It was a group of strangers, and, you know, there wasn't as much free-flowing chatter. There weren't inside jokes and stuff the way there is now. We didn't all really know each other's projects or what type of writers we were yet. And so it was awkward. It was awkward, and it took a little time for the momentum to get there. And I had a lot of fears, to be honest, about showing up and potentially embarrassing myself. You know, no one wants to be left alone at a cafe. No one wants to show up and have not a single soul show up, which I don't think ever happened, but like it could have. I could have shown up on Tuesday night to the cafe and have no one come. And that's scary. That's vulnerable. That's awkward. And I still feel that way sometimes, even in online spaces. You know, when I was first starting with live streams, there was always a fear of like, what if no one comes? Like, what if the chat is vacant and there's tumbleweeds blowing through it? With Discord sprints, there's always a risk of like, oh, I'm going to start a sprint and hope that friends join me. But like, they might not. Even when I'm like messaging in writing friend group chats, you know, there's always the possibility of not being responded to. I think I'm coming to learn and coming to accept that that is just par for the course and part of the territory whenever you choose to put yourself out there and take a little bit of a risk. Trying to make friends, trying to make connections is inherently going to be risky, potentially awkward, difficult, but that is just... it just comes with the territory. It is getting really gloomy outside. I feel like it might snow. We've been getting snow the past few days. That would be crazy if it snowed. I'll definitely show you if it does. That's why the light on my face is very minimal. I'm sorry about that. I'm literally right next to the window, but it is just that dreary out. Another thing that you might want to prepare for, and I'm just bringing these things up not to scare you, actually for the opposite reason, because I think when you know and can anticipate a potential struggle, it actually frees you when you meet that struggle to be like, oh, I recognize you. Someone told me that was going to happen, and I know that it's not a big deal and that I can push through it. But another struggle that might come up is just comparison, envy, honestly, feeling a little bit jealous if other people are just like really killing it, or they're writing so many words. Maybe they've written 5 books in the past 3 years and you definitely have not done that. Maybe they're getting publishing opportunities or subscribers. That's obviously more specific to making authortube friends or YouTube friends, but these sorts of things can come up. Anytime you're making friends and connections within a community where everyone is kind of striving for a similar goal, there's going to be times when maybe you're feeling like you're kind of flopping and you have to watch your friends thrive, you know? The thing that has helped me the most with this, honestly, is just genuinely cheering for other people. And I find that I get most insecure when I'm over fixating on myself. And if I can replace that focus on the broader community, on celebrating and praising my friends for their accomplishments, I just feel better. Not to mention, you reap what you sow. And if you're not putting out good vibes into the community, if you're not supporting other people, other writers, other creators, they're not going to support you back. Like, duh. Anytime I start to feel some type of way about like, I'm just not feeling the love right now, if I take a closer look, I have not been giving the love out recently. And I think that there's a bit of a what comes around goes around, what goes around comes around. You know what I mean? The energy that you're putting out is what you're going to get in return, I think. You know, the time will come where everyone is clapping for you and you've accomplished something, but the thing that's really going to help you feel better in the meantime is just like genuinely being happy for other people and turning your potential jealousy or comparison into praising what you find so impressive and telling that person, wow, like this is so inspiring. Like you're doing so great and I'm amazed at you. Because that's the feeling, right? Like envy at the end of the day is just admiration. I'm changing my seating situation just because my feet are falling asleep because I'm like, I'm having to crouch to be in this position and to be at the right height in the frame. So I'm just going to hang out down here for a sec. Kind of going off of that note, when it comes to like establishing a writing friendship with someone, whether you're reaching out to just like a fellow writer that you found somewhere online or another authortube creator if you make videos, I always try to think when reaching out to someone, how can I not make it about me? Instead of messaging something like, oh, hey, I'm looking for friends, want to be friends. Sometimes that might work, but I feel like especially if you're reaching out to someone who maybe gets a lot of messages like that, it's not necessarily going to stick out and they don't know anything about you. So just a random invitation to be friends, it's like going up to someone on the street and being like, hey, want to be friends, you know? Instead, I think it can be better to try engaging with the person first about either like a shared interest or something that you like about their content or their work or their online presence. This is also how I would go about making YouTube friends or like friends in any department, really. Like even when I was on Bumble BFF, like the friend version of Bumble, I would never message people and just be like, hey, let's be friends, because that's giving them absolutely nothing. I would maybe point out something very specific from their profile that I liked or could relate to and try to make conversation around that. So kind of in the same way, if you see someone writing a fantasy book and they mentioned in some video wanting to join a Discord server, and you're also a fantasy writer who has a Discord server that you really like, perfect first DM. Hey, I'm also a fantasy writer. I loved what you mentioned about your project. It seems really fascinating. Like, actually make that genuine. Don't just say that. Maybe list specific details that you know about their project. And then you can say, I have this Discord server that I'm part of. I know you mentioned that you wanted to join a Discord server. Are you interested? I can send you the link. Something much more specific and catered to them. I also think like if they have a public platform, you know, if they have a YouTube channel, for example, commenting consistently on their videos or their posts, engaging with them so they start to recognize your username. That's how I made a lot of my authortube friends, is just like continuously commenting on each other's stuff until we took that next step of messaging each other. And at that point, we kind of already knew of each other, you know? Obviously, I'm an authortuber, so I'm a proponent of like getting on a writing related social platform, but you also don't have to do that. And I did get some tips from other people on ways to create friends outside of having a social platform. So we'll get to that in a second. One of my favorite ways to connect with writing friends lately has become Discord. Obsessed with Discord. I never had any interest in it because to me, Discord was for the gamer bros. That was just my perception of it. But since joining it, I'm actually addicted and obsessed. As any of my friends will tell you, I love Sprinto. Sprinto is like a little robot in Discord that runs writing sprints for you, and you can all join together. Like you and multiple people can all sprint at the same time, and it's really fun. That has been a huge obsession of mine. If you're looking to potentially join a writing Discord, I am in the Storytellers Society Discord that Dami and CK started. Definitely check out their channels. I'm sure they have a link probably in their recent videos to join, or you could like DM them on Instagram. Huge fan of Discord. I'm part of 3 servers now, and I'm always scheming to sprint with people on there. So even if you want to do some sprints with me, definitely recommend joining Discord. Another like random plug that I've been really into lately is my trackbear leaderboards. I started doing monthly trackbear leaderboards, and it's like such a small thing, but just seeing that graph throughout the month and seeing other people's progress and getting to track my own progress on the little leaderboard, it's just like fun. And it's another way to like see other people in the community and be like, oh, hey, like I know who that is. I recognize that username. Cool to see that they're at 40% of their goal or whatever, you know? I'll have the trackbear leaderboard for February down below in case you want to join. Writing community can take so many different forms. Like there's the big, flashy, very personal forms. To me, the peak of that is like an in-person writing group or in-person writing friends, where you're actually like physically showing up, having full conversations, creating full friendship bonds with people. But there's a whole spectrum of other levels of writing friendship and writing community too. Like, for example, I FaceTime writing friends a lot and just do sprints with them. And that's a little less effort than like an in-person thing, but still, you know, a decent amount of effort. But then there's also these small things like being in a Discord server where you're just like typing. You don't even have to show up like physically. No one has to see your face, but you still get that little sense of camaraderie and maybe some occasional conversation or just this feeling that someone else is writing with you, so it doesn't feel so alone. It is fully snowing outside. I will get a clip for you guys once we're done with this conversation. Okay, so I did promise that we would do some tips for finding writing friends outside of just having a platform on YouTube, because obviously that's my perspective, but I know a lot of my audience does not make writing content on YouTube. So how do you go about making writing friends if you don't have YouTube in the picture? I sourced these answers from the Storyteller Society Discord that I mentioned a few minutes ago. So thank you to the wonderful users on there who gave me their thoughts. I basically asked, for those of you who don't have a public writing platform on YouTube or something similar, how do you go about making writing friends? Any tips? This is still obviously social media related, but a big tip was finding virtual communities on other apps that are maybe a little less high energy or high effort to create content on. The ones that were recommended were Discord, Tumblr, Blue Sky, and Threads. Threads is like the new Twitter. I'm scared of Threads, but could be a good place. You can also seek out in-person writing meetups. And this user said, it's awkward, but worth it. Whether that's a local writing group or events at your local library. Leah said she found a writing workshop in her town over Instagram, which is interesting. There was also someone who mentioned finding writing communities based around a shared fandom or like a specific interest. So like if you're all big A Court of Thorns and Roses fans. I wonder why I chose that as the example. If you're all big ACOTAR fans, you could, you know, find people online who are also big ACOTAR fans, bond over that. I do feel like the connection of reading and writing is a great place to like seek out writing friends as well, because a lot of writers are also avid readers. And then these two I thought were really fun. Bring writing up in conversation to discover secret writing friends. So people you might not even know are into writing. Or you're just like mentioning your writing in a public sphere and someone's like, oh, I do that. Or like, oh, I used to write books back in high school. Or I've been meaning to try writing a book, although a lot of people will say I've been meaning to write a book and they never will. But I thought that was fun. Someone said they actually made a writing friend by just like bringing it up in conversation in their existing social circles, and they had no idea that this person was a writer. So I think that's fun. Or someone else also mentioned dragging your friends into the hobby, which I did. I can speak from personal experience. This does work. My friend Amina, hi Amina, one of my besties, I single-handedly bullied her into resurrecting her writing journey, and now she's like halfway through a rough draft and has been writing consistently again for like 6 months. So this does work. Convince your friends to write a book. Thank you so much if you are someone who's a part of my writing community, whether that's being in a Discord server that I'm in, or being an authortube friend of mine, being someone who I actually like text and talk to all the time. Thank you so much. One of my favorite parts of having gotten back into writing in the past year and starting this channel is the friends that I've made, people that I talk to every day now, and I'm just really grateful. And to all of my subscribers as well, you guys are obviously a huge part of what makes me feel connected with this online writing community, like having this channel and so much support and seeing your sweet comments telling me about your own writing journeys and goals. It means a lot to me, so thank you for being here. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, comment down below what's like a community vibe emoji? Is there a picnic basket? There is a picnic. Nope, that's a laundry basket. I'm struggling. Okay, comment down below some sort of aquatic animal. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go with. I'm gonna show you the snow. The way the snow was literally so intense like 2 seconds ago, and as soon as I tried to get a clip, it became kind of depressing. Maybe next time. Also, snow in Seattle is supposed to be like super rare. So like the fact that it's been snowing like 5 days in a row is crazy. Apparently this is abnormal, from what I've heard from Seattle locals. Speaking of things that can help you be more accountable with your writing, I do offer manuscript critique services that you can book if you want to give yourself a little bit of a deadline for whatever project you're working on. I offer developmental feedback on things like pacing, characters, plot holes. I ask a lot of questions in my feedback. If you want me to poke some holes in your manuscript, lovingly of course, feel free to check that out. That will be in the description. And there is also a line level add-on if you want line level feedback as well. You can also check out my Patreon page if you want access to bonus content. I'll see you in my next video very soon. And until then, happy writing. Bye.